Hey there, welcome. Dr. Jason Dean, drjasondean.com, your source for health, freedom, and knowledge. Very important, right? When I came up with that, I guess, tagline, as you'd call it, I was actually sitting down and thinking, how do we get across what we need to get across to everybody from a standpoint? Obviously, I'm in healthcare, right? But also, you can't take responsibility for your health without knowledge, right? And what do I mean by that? I get questions every single day. I get questions in practice. I get questions via social media. And obviously, most of the questions are just that. They're asking for advice on something. They're asking about, what is this? How can you help me? Does this product work? Different things like that, right? And people are trying to take responsibility for themselves and their health because they know that they don't feel good. I'm going to go into that in a second. So, how do you gain control over your health? When I mean gain control, like you feel good, you feel good, you are doing well, etc. We have to have control. To that, you have to gain information. You have to gain a knowledge base. You have to build up the knowledge base, right? And then you can be responsible for it all. It really is that simple, okay? Now, there's a couple things out there in the world right now of healthcare that people have concerns on. And there's a couple things I want to bring up because it's so important. And I'm actually doing a little bit of a test on myself right now, of which I will let you know the results of that probably in the next month or so regarding a health piece that I'm working on for myself. Now, I don't walk around on a daily basis with symptoms or issues like that. However, when I talk to people and they fill out any type of new patient paperwork for me or any of my associates, they fill out like a symptom survey, we call it, right? Symptoms. Now, I know symptoms are not the problem, but the symptoms are a byproduct of what's going on in the body. And when they fill this out, we add it up, we calculate it, right? And we have people who are 50, 100, 200, 300 plus points on that, which obviously is way out of control. You should be at or near zero. Yes, every single day, you should be walking around with at or near zero symptoms. Pain is not normal. Headaches are not normal. Migraines are not normal. Asthma is not normal. Heart issues are not normal. Gut issues are not normal. Reproductive issues are not normal. Energy problems, sleep problems. You list the symptom. Those are not normal. So it comes back to this gut issue when you've heard the word leaky gut. I use the word leaky gut a lot, but I want to explain this and what I'm finding. Our guts are so important. What do I mean by gut, right? Now, it's an entire digestive tract. The digestive tract starts in the mouth, goes all the way down, obviously, to the rectum and everything that comes out of it, right? But there's different aspects of it as you go down from the mouth to that area. So, but the gut itself, right? Stomach is right here. Stomach is not down here. I know we say our stomach is down here. Like moms tell their kids, like, oh, the baby's in my stomach. It's not really your stomach. That's your uterus is way down there, right? For women. The stomach is right here. The small intestine is right here in the middle. And then your actual colon goes around, okay? So no big deal. Just letting people know that. Gut, it becomes leaky. What does that mean? Now, and I find this also on my MVX Plus test. That's MVX, Metabolic Vulnerability Index. Are you vulnerable in your metabolic health? That's what it's looking at. And these tests, I'll get back to this in a second on the tail end of this video. I find it there, and people, unfortunately, the health paradigm or picture for most Americans is a disaster right now. I'll get to that in a second. However, what does it mean, leaky gut? It literally means there's tears. Like if you tear a garment, your pants, a shirt. Like that, a big tear, you're not ripping it off, but there might be a tear. Well, consider a tear like that to be in your gut, small intestine, large intestine. How does that happen? Little perforations happen from anything from parasites, bacterias. Now let's go to the toxins. Glyphosate is a patented antibiotic. Okay? Glyphosate, a patented antibiotic, meaning, and I don't think most people know, I've talked about this a little bit, how dangerous for the average person antibiotics are. I'm not saying there's not a time and a place for somebody who is in a dire need and they're like on the deathbed. I always joke, I wouldn't take an antibiotic unless I was in a zombie apocalypse. I'm going to try to keep it that way. However, I understand there's people out there who have a major problem and they're trying to keep them from dying. I get it. But to the average person out there who's just functionally moving around, right? Antibiotic is going to wipe you out. And I've seen this because it happens regularly, right? Even a dose, one cycle of antibiotics wipe people out. It nukes the gut. So even if you had something good in there, it's destroyed. You start getting that distended belly, you get bloating. Real quick question out there for any of you watching this, and put it in the comments either live or later. How many of you get uncontrolled bloating, sometimes with certain foods, sometimes just with anything? I know people who get bloated with just water. Bloating, distended belly, gas, up and down energy levels, but the belly gets really big. You feel blah, you feel nauseous, diarrhea, constipation, a whole bunch of stuff, right? So, what tears up this gut? Glyphosate tears up the gut because it actually is a antibiotic nuke in your stomach. Now, here's the problem with that. You say, how do I avoid glyphosate? That's the problem. Unfortunately, you don't right now. Why? All of your grains, commercial grains, right, have glyphosate on them. Most of your food has glyphosate either sprayed on it or has been tainted by glyphosate in the environment. Even if you eat organic food, and I don't want to be a downer, your organic food, glyphosate. It's in the air, everybody. Like, go look at the USGS map. You can literally Google USGS maps for glyphosate, and you'll show you the current, it'll probably actually show you about 5 years ago, the latest map of glyphosate exposure. It's the entire country. It's in the soil. So why is your gut messed up? There's an antibiotic being applied to your food and your soil, the stuff the food grows in. It's atrocious. So we have plastics, we have mold, we have heavy metals, sky, heavy chemicals from the sky. All of this stuff goes into your body and it breaks down your guts. And here's the crazy part. Your gut is supposed to be built like a garden. Quality soil, the bacteria, to make quality health or plants or like flowers, whatever you want to call it. But the microbiome that you have is supposed to be like a garden. Not a literal garden, but you get what I mean. So the gut is being destroyed. And I remember I told you this story a long time ago. I'll repeat it again. But we bought one time organic oatmeal, but it was like I forgot what they call it, not the groats, but something along those lines, right? It's not like your flake oatmeal. It's the actual like little pellets, right? It's supposed to be healthier. We actually bought it, I think this was like 10 plus years ago. Bought it from a Whole Foods, right? Organic, healthy for you. So we got it home and we put it in the cupboard, and quite frankly, we forgot about it. Like, and it got pushed to the back. That happens. It goes in the corner. And we were cleaning out, spring cleaning one time, and I look in there and I see a bag in the back. I'm like, oh my gosh, we forgot about that. Like a long time later, I noticed holes in it. So I pulled it out. There was holes all over it. I was like, what is happening? What got into it? Nothing got into it. There were parasitic weevils inside the oats that hatched started eating at the oats and were tearing through the package from the outside. Folks, the soil is supposed to be alive and beneficial. Your gut is supposed to be alive and beneficial. The parasites, the glyphosates, the molds, you name it, metals, chemicals, plastics, it's tearing it down, which then tears down our body, tears down our gut, and that leaks into the rest of our system. So when someone tells you you're allergic to certain foods, it's not because you're allergic to those foods. The protein leaks through the gut lining into the bloodstream where it's not supposed to be and creates a food allergy on the tests. What's really the problem is not because you're allergic to meats or fruits or vegetables or other foods, it's because your gut is leaky. And I will be dropping more on that in the near future, as always, continuing just push out this material education, what we see, what we go through on a regular basis so we can help you with your stuff. Now, back to that MVX Plus test. You can grab yours at drjasondeen.com/M as in Mary, V as in Victor, X as in xylophone. Simple, drjasondeen.com/MVX. It'll take you over to a thing, you'll see it, fill it out, and we'll get you all set up, okay? I am routinely getting people who tell me they feel great, they feel amazing, they feel good, they don't think they have any problems, they just want to handle a little bit of something. They go get this test. Now keep in mind, this test was released not this past January, the one before it, so a little over a year and say 4 months, right? That this test was released. And Metabolic Vulnerability Index is actually a mortality rate. So we find out the mortality rate, right? Are you having no problems at all, or are you having major problems, right? But it's also a cardiac test marker. It's got liver tests markers. It's got nutrition or malabsorption. If you have a leaky gut, everybody, you're not absorbing your nutrition. I don't care how great you eat, you're not absorbing. And I'm seeing that across the board. 99% of the people that I see MVX tests on, they're either not absorbing nutrients at all, or they're absorbing, say, 20%, but they're missing a majority of it. And then they wonder why they're not healing. They're not turning amino acids into proteins, and they're not regenerating their body. But this also, again, a cardiac test, liver test, also inflammation test, parasite test, bacteria test, fungus, virus. It's picking up infections for us. It's also a toxin test. How bad are the toxins in your system? It goes through all of this. But here's the problem. As we do these tests, I just recently, I'm going to try to put a video out about this specific test. I just recently did a test on somebody. And this lovely woman said, I feel amazing. I can't make this up. She's like, I feel great. I just want to make sure there's not anything I'm missing. I'm like, wonderful. I have no problem helping somebody that already feels good, but they want to make sure they're not missing anything. Ran the test. It came back, and out of I think there's roughly about 10 markers on there. Don't quote me on that. Out of the 10 markers, I think 7 or 8 of them were not only out of my range that I want, which is not the medical range, right? I have my own range I want you within. It was not only out of my range, it was out of the blood test range. Meaning, over 90% of her markers were so out of range, which means high mortality rate. Massive inflammation in the cardiac system, massive infection, liver markers out of control, the liver is not happy, toxic levels, and not absorbing their nutrition. This is where we are, everybody. I always go back to, obviously the brain needs help, your heart needs help, the cardiovascular system, lungs, etc. But the majority of doctors out there, the majority of you out there are missing how bad the liver is doing, how bad the gut is doing. And why are they doing poorly? Toxins. Glyphosate and plastics might be the most pervasive, toxic, compound chemicals that we deal with on a daily basis. And I know people are like, oh, but I don't consume that. Every time I bring up like glyphosate, they bring up, oh, I eat organic. Doesn't matter. It's still there. Every time I bring up plastics, oh, we are all glass, we're all stainless steel. Guys, if you walk outside, you're going to be inhaling plastics. How is that happening? Or I shouldn't just say plastics, but those chemicals, right? The phthalates, all the plastic chemicals. It's in the vehicles, it's in the exhaust, it's on the tires, it's in our shoes, like it's all around us. And again, I'm not trying to be a doomer because that's hard. I know it gets people down. I'm not trying to do that. All of us are, I work on myself every day. I don't have any symptoms and I still work on myself every single solitary day. But the gut is beat up. Why? Because we're taking all this in, and then what happens is the parasites start taking over. Why? Because all infections, parasites, bacteria, viruses, fungus, they go after points of weakness in the body. If you have a weakness area or a weak area, gut, liver, brain, heart, etc., it's going to go after that. So I'm going to get that video up hopefully the next day or so of that MVX test to show you just how these can look. And I was hoping it was just, for older people because they're struggling sometimes. No. I think 7 years old up to like 80 have all been showing these same trends. It doesn't matter if you're 7 years old, 10 years old, 20, 50, 60, 80. Same trends on this test. Very toxic, lower mortality rates, high inflammation, high infection, high toxicity. Got to get control of this. Head over to drjcd.com. You can get a full moon protocol there. The liquid's there right at the top or at the front. And then if you want to, either go to drjcd.com/MVX or go to drjcd.com. There's a red button there. You can't miss it. We got to get to the bottom of this. I will be giving more information on this as well. And do me a favor. Keep sharing all this. Get it out to your friends, family, as best you can. It always takes longer, unfortunately, than we think to turn minds over, to get them to see it, to get them to be open to it. Keep going. Yes, it gets tiring. Sometimes it feels like burnout at the end of the day. But it is working, everybody. Do me a favor. Love, serve, and help. I'm Dr. Jason Dean. I want you to have a great rest of your Tuesday. Take good care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.